Hello and welcome back to the next One Piece review and discussion. Now, we have certainly been ramping up to a very, very monumental moment of Egghead, and I think we might have just reached it because the stakes have never been higher. Everyone is trying to regroup, trying to escape, and certainly things are looking rough. Emmet is trying his absolute best, but the five elders are certainly not letting him get away with anything. And obviously, we had some big revelations from Vegapunk from the final chapter last week. You know, really ushering in another age, the end of an arc, but also this final saga setup that we're seeing now come through. So, without further ado, chapter 1122. The time is at hand. So, lovely title reference to actually something that, in a really beautiful, roundabout way, ties in with the cover story. So, this is away from all of Yamato's pilgrimage and anything else. This is a cover request specifically for a certain boy who drew a fan art of Smoker 22 years ago. And it's beautiful. It looks great. And obviously, it is a big, beautiful reference and nod to Horikoshi's drawing all those years ago when he was just a wee lad. And this is obviously a show of respect, a show of just admiration, as obviously my hero reaches its final chapter during this Shonen Jump. So Oda is doing his part to honour that and has recreated this drawing of Smoker, but instead of saying One Piece in the clouds, it says obviously My Hero Academia. So I think that's a really nice touch, and it kind of fits that, chapter title in a really roundabout way. So that's kind of cool. I like that. But anyway, last we had left off, Vegapunk had said that now the rest of the world, was in the hands of whoever could claim the One Piece. And we had that incredible double page spread of all the contenders who are involved, all the key figures who are certainly trying to either stop or get their hands on the One Piece. So it's certainly going to be interesting, but we'll have to see how it plays out. Because as we see at the start of this chapter, the fate of the world depends on pirates. Vegapunk is saying whoever finds this One Piece, whoever does it, the fate of the world is down to them. And we get reactions from around the world of people just being like, hold up 1 second. What about the Navy? Is our country actually going to sink? Like, is this lost? And then we see like Hachinosu and other places are just like in uproar, like, yes, this is our time. The One Piece is out there. Let's go get it, boys. But I'll tell you what's interesting is we come to Impel Down. We see the cages, they're all rattling, they're all getting absolutely pumped, saying this is now the time where pirates run the show. The world government is done. We know this is our time. The world is going to sink at least leave some for us. So this monumental thing, and we can see the guards are like panicking, like, why are they allowed to hear this message? And the guy's like, my guy, it's playing through every snail, and we can't stop the broadcast. So this is Vegapunk's fault. So we see a couple of like upper management are like, oh, Vegapunk, what are you doing? And we get a first big moment of this chapter where we see Kobe now sat up in the hospital where he is, and Hibari's to his side, and he's like, Luffy. And he thinks back to when Luffy told him way back when at the Romance Dawn, like start of the story, and he said he was going to become king of the pirates. And Kobe was like, that would mean the whole world would have to kneel to you. Are you after the One Piece? And we see young Luffy just smiling away, and the intent on Kobe's face here when he's like, I have to stop you from achieving your dream, Luffy. I mean, is this being set up as like a Garp Roger like scenario where they're kind of going to be at odds with each other a lot of the times, but maybe just at the very end they have to like do a little team up? But Kobe is dead set on this. He looks serious, member of Sword now. But we then jump to one of the other four emperors who's probably going to get the One Piece first in all obvious reasons. It is Buggy, and he's like, you dummies, why are you calling it my world? Are you serious? And they're like, what have we done wrong? It's our world, ain't it? And that rouses the crowd even more. And you know what? For all intents and purposes, Buggy might be the laughing stock among these pirates, particularly Crocodile and Mihawk. But a man knows how to rile a crowd. I'll tell you what, he's cut out to be leader. But we see Crocodile's just telling him to be quiet and sit down. Buggy's very afraid. So we'll see how this cross guild pans out in the future when I guess the backs are against the wall. Who do they side with or go against? But we do get a brief shot of another emperor. Indeed, we see Blackbeard, and we see Katarina Devon and Van Auger with Caribou in tow now, travelling away from Egghead, and Katarina has radioed to Teach to be like, should we bring him? Like, it's your call, Commodore. And we can hear Caribou like pleading, like, this information is important. Please, you need to like listen to me. And Teach is just like, bring him anyway. If the information's like useless, I'll kill him myself. Like, I was like, oh, okay. But we see obviously the continuation or the final remnants of Vegapunk's message that the truth, Joyboy, he and the transmission cuts because Walkery deals a killer blow to Emet, sending him rattling down the coast, hits like the edge right by the water. Everyone's reaction, the giants are like panicking, and the transponder snail blows up. It is no more. And above them we see the Sunny is about to touch the water, but Nosturo has regained himself and has, through sheer force of will of running on air, has caught up to the Sunny. And everyone's panicking. Nami's like, Zoro, you gotta do something. He looks ready to duel. There is a moment of like pause, like stillness, and we see that Emet speaks specifically to Luffy, and he says, I'm sorry. and I'm sorry to Joyboy. And Luffy's like, what? Like, who are you apologising to? And Emmett says that, he knew there was no chance that Joyboy would still be alive. And Luffy's like, oh, did you mistake me for someone you knew? Because obviously the drums and the form he takes resembles Joyboy from the past. And that's what Emmett says. He says, it was so nostalgic, you look just like him. And my feelings from that day came crashing back. I hope that Joyboy can forgive me. I failed to make him king. So Joyboy obviously had the clash with the 20 kingdoms. Never was made king or king of the pirates. Even though he was the first pirate, he was never made king. He fell short to Emet and all the others. So everyone is sort of in this frozen moment of, we've got Jupiter, Nostromo, Mercury, Saturn. No Marcus Mars, just the four of the elders, because Mars got sent flying by Luffy and that. On the coast, barreling down these ships. Emet is on the coast in between them. Everyone is freaking out, and Luffy says, King. And Emet is asking Luffy what his name is. And he says, I am Monkey D. Luffy, and I'm the man who's going to be king of the pirates. And Emmet's like, D. Right. And we see inside of Emet a rope tied with a knot snaps, and he begins to laugh. And as he is laughing, and as he is talking to Luffy in this final moment, he says, thank you, Luffy, for letting me hear that nostalgic rhythm one last time. Please don't die. I won't let you die. And this surge of conquerors erupts from Emet. Now, before we go on, let's just jump back to this rope for a moment. A rope that's been hiding inside Emet. This thing that he's been saying for chapters, that Joyboy had given to him. Could he use it now? He snaps a rope, and a island-sized conqueror hacky attack. Just we're like outside the coast. Like the depiction of Egghead is tiny, and this huge wave just absolutely blasts right throughout the Marines. They all get knocked down. Even the vice admirals are like, holy, what is that presence? Like, who is causing such a strong aura? And it is absolutely bad. And even Luffy's like, Conqueror's hacky? Like, where's that coming from? So, there is a giant blast. And we see that in this moment, the 5 elders are hit by this wave and revert back into their human forms. And then we cut to Marijois, where there is a billow of smoke, and as it clears, Marcus Mars was already sat down in the room, waiting. Nostromo, Jupiter, Walkery all land from the smoke, out of breath, sort of taking it in, but are in Marie-Joie. And we see Eam in the butterfly room screaming. And aid rushes in, and there is a panic on Eam's face, and the only thought is Joyboy. The level of Conqueror's Haki that even Eam could feel it and know it was Joyboy. Like, we've seen some pretty big Conquerors levels of attacks. Like, I think one of the biggest was Rogers and Whitebeard, like when they clashed. And the whole island just like split. Like, that was two Conquerors Haki against each other. This is just Joyboy's Conquerors alone. This one dude has been saving up this attack to unleash it. It annihilates 4 of the 5 elders. We'll get to Saturn in a minute, because we see Saturn gets knocked into human form, but he doesn't appear in the room. So what we see is the Sunny crash lands and hits the water. Luffy's like, I'm so glad you guys made it. They're all like excited. We can see Usopp and Chopper like crying on Jinbei and like, I'm so glad we made it. We see Nami saying Atlas and Edison, and that's the only thing. It's like, I'm fine, but Atlas and Edison, like, what? We don't know. We know that they're probably dead, but we know Lilith is somewhere safe on board. And then we see this just very incredible moment of Jay Garcia Saturn, cane in hand, stood on the shore, looking at the smouldering, like, rubble of Emet. And again with the ellipses, but Jay Garcia didn't get sent back. So, theory time. Jay Garcia was here physically in person. He summoned the other elders. What if this whole time Jay Garcia hasn't really done too much, as opposed to the other more practical uses of the other demons among the 5 elders? What if it's because one of Saturn's abilities was to summon the other elders from Marie-Joie and bring them here, but with such a massive Conqueror's attack, it broke the spell or concentration or whatever and sent them back? That's why Jay Garcia is the only one left, because he was physically here first. He didn't get summoned from Marie-Joie. And the others obviously were brought in by these summoning circles. That is mad. No wonder Jay Garcia didn't really do too much, because this whole time he was actually using his abilities to keep the other elders around. I think the regeneration still, like, they can all do that, but at least to instantaneously transport the elders from Marie-Joie to Egghead, it certainly poses the question, because they were here, they were on the island, they were taking attacks, but a strong enough attack knocked the spell or whatever, or maybe distance, because Marcus Mars got knocked a long way away and he's just sat in the room already waiting. And it didn't seem like he could come back. So, who knows? But what we do see is a final touching moment from Emet. And it's a flashback. And there is a person sat up high. Emet is in his robotic, much cleaner, much nicer armour. Stood up high and up on like a building. There's like a tree. This small figure is saying, "Listen, Emet, the time is at hand. I am going to gather my most powerful haki, and I am going to seal it inside you." And this mysterious shadowed figure doesn't get showed, but wears a very distinctive straw hat. And he says, "You are bound to live much longer than me. I'm not going to always be around to help." And Emmet's like, oh no, that's terrible. But we see this figure, which pretty much we know at this point is Joyboy, says at some point you are going to be in danger, or someone you want to protect will be. And when that happens, just untie the knot. The internet has already done its beautiful work. This was foreshadowed all the way back during Nami's training arc at Weatheria with this rope.
さあお立ち会い、固く結ばれたこの風の結び目、一つほどくとそよ風を呼び、二つほどけば強風を呼び、三つほどくと突風を呼ぶ。
I cannot believe that even though it was just shown to create a strong wind, that it could actually be used to store haki and the presence of Joyboy himself. He's like, that is right. Whenever it happens, whenever you use it, I will be saving you from right here in the past, just like always. And we see, stood up, similar stature to Luffy, but a hat, a cape, cloak. People are saying he has a wooden leg. I'm not so sure. It could just be the drawing. Maybe he does. It'd be cool if he has an eye patch though. We all understand that reference, don't we? But he is there. This is the first time we're seeing Joyboy. And Emet says, you know, it makes me so happy to know, you know, it doesn't matter if you're going to be dead. I will always have a part of you with me. Ages and ages, I just hope I don't get too lonely. And the last of Emet, all he does is laugh before powering off. And that is where the chapter ends. God damn it. What a chapter. There's so much to digest there that happened. So this is obviously going to usher in the end of Egghead finally. I think we'll have one chapter where they're on the shores and they're leaving. They decide what happens with Lilith and all the little stuff, trying to get away from the Marines, obviously, who are still around. Most of them have been knocked unconscious. This haki wave has immobilised the majority, if not 90%, of the Marines. And most of the Vice Admirals are also down. What Kizaru does he just keep playing dumb and just lie down. What does Jay Garcia do? It's probably the big one, because both ships now, Sunny and the Elbaf ship, are together. They're leaving. So within 1-2 chapters, Egghead will be officially done. We will have some travel, and then it begins the Elbaf arc. I really hope we spend a long time in Elbaf. Wano is like 100+ chapters. All I want is a long Viking giant arc. But I don't know if the stakes now have been set too high for us to have a contained arc. Maybe with training, but as far as I know, there's no one like Kaido that Luffy has to defeat on Elbaf. There might be a lot of history to learn, maybe some training to be had, but this isn't an island that he has to go and free. This is an island where he now has to realise there is a war coming, and he needs to gather every ally he can and rush for the One Piece. It's certainly getting good. Oh, man. Right. Let me know what you thought of this chapter. All the references, all this foreshadowing. Finally see Joyboy for the first time. We're probably going to see more of him. Will we actually see what he looks like? Who knows? You tell me. I will catch you guys next time. Bye.